Hello and welcome back to the Classics World Chat Show. You join us in slightly different surroundings. We're in Ashford in Kent at Hobbs Parker Car Auctions, which is fitting given our special guest. This is James from Hobbs Parker Classic Car Auctions.
Hello.
James, thank you for joining us.
Hello, gents. Nice to see you.
Yes, indeed.
Hottest
Good
day
to
of
see
the
you.
year.
Good to see you too.
It's 32 degrees, you'll excuse the sweatiness.
Yeah.
So I think, James, obviously we're here at Hobbs Parker. Talk to us a bit about the market in general, because you guys haven't been selling classic cars for the longest time compared to some of the guys in the market. And how have you seen it sort of grow from there?
Yeah, well, the more you do something, the more you become renowned for it. The first classic auction we did here was back in 2013, so what's that, 12 years ago now? And we did one a year. And obviously doing one a year, you don't have any momentum really. So we started doing two a year in 2018 and then slowly grew it. After COVID, we've done three a year ever since. The more you do it, the more you get renowned for doing it. You get repeat business, and every sale we have 150 to 200 lots, and that's a nice number to have.
Absolutely.
It's enough to bring people in, but manageable as well. So
I feel like every single time we come here, we say, this is the best one because they do genuinely get bigger and better and higher quality every time.
Yeah, we always have a nice diverse section of cars. If you look at what we've got this time, there's 30s cars for the people there. There's good interest in that still. There's obviously a market. There's a massive market adjustment, but there's still good interest in that, and there's some fabulous value there. And then we've got the hot property, the Fords of the 80s and 90s, and the Japanese cars,
supercars and everything.
Yeah, well, I noticed at the April sale, not only did that cost us a lot of money personally because we bought two cars, but the variety was better than ever. Like you say, you've got the pre-war stuff. But right up to modern day, sort of early 2000s modern classic stuff.
Your most recent sale will have happened by the time this video goes out. But I'd encourage you to go and look at their website for the next catalogue already, because it is
October.
eclectic.
I had one owner Subaru Impreza consigned today. So
that's one for you.
That'll be a nice one for October.
Never raced or rallied.
Never raced or rallied.
Well, talking about spending money then, we'll get onto kind of today's theme that we always what we would pick. And we said today we go luxury cars, gentlemen. We're sort of up to a budget of 5 figures, £10,000 or so, because this is a slightly tenuous market in terms of how much you can spend. James, we'll kick off with you. You're a man of luxury barges. What would your first choice be?
Luxury barges, that's right in my...
That's your alley.
It's like my Strasser, isn't it, that? So first, I would have to pick, I owned one, I'd love to own another one, and it would have to be a Lexus LS 400.
Yes, first gen one.
First gen, the purest of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were the best car in the world, weren't they, really?
$1 billion car,
Yeah, you could almost argue they still are. I don't think it's ever been bettered.
Still so understated as well.
So understated, so underrated. And but if you know anyone that's had one or driven one, we
drove one for the channel, didn't we?
We all got out of it and went, this is brilliant.
Yeah. Brand new. It was like it was brand new.
Yeah, no rattles, absolutely smooth. Parts availability is pretty good. Can be quite expensive, but you can still get most of the things from Toyota. And other things you can buy from America. There's a huge market for
big following over there.
Of course. Rock Auto and people like that. You can buy. I think you can buy genuine Lexus parts. So
amazing. So you've owned an LS400.
I owned an LS400, and I only sold it because one of my next picks came up and I couldn't turn it down. But I'd own another one in a heartbeat. And if the one I owned had been a little bit better, I'd probably have kept it. Yeah. Because I don't like selling anything. So
I think it comes to the point now with LS400s, you tend to get two versions. You either get the absolutely mint 10,000 mile immaculate one owner from you, never going to sell it because why would you? Or you get the ratty, raggy, drifty ones, which the drifting community do get hold of them.
Far too many of them have been slaughtered by the drifting community. But the car I had was a 98, so it was an R-Edge car. And I had a bit of body work and stuff like that, but mechanically it was faultless. I serviced it 2 or 3 times. I had it for 4 years, 5 years, and it was faultless, but fantastic car.
Fabulous car. Yeah. Mr. Whedon, which Jaguar have you chosen as your first pick?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll leave everyone in suspense for my Leaping Cat derivative, because first of all, I wanted to just define what I felt meant by sort of prestige, because I wanted to avoid too much sporting choice. I was definitely going for luxury rather than prestige or performance as such. So I was definitely going for luxury, wafting sort of stuff. So first of all, I did go Mercedes.
How dare you? That's my territory.
I know, exactly. Now, I'll be honest, I did want to gravitate to an SEC. I think, unfortunately, I might just be a bit ambitious on the 10 grand price point. Might get a leggy, slightly rough project for sub 10. So the sensible choice is to go for the 124 coupe.
Great
because choice. I still think they look fantastic. We know how good 124s are. we had the saloon version.
Still miss out.
It was fabulous. Basically, any 124, whether it's an estate saloon or coupe, you can't go wrong. But I love the pillarless profile of a 124. And the great thing is, at the sub 10k price point, the world's your oyster. Actually, you can get a really nice condition 6-cylinder car for just under 10.
I like the early cars. I like the really
orange indicators,
pre-93 facelift
with the Sacco boards on them.
Orange
well, I get really geeky about the steering wheels because I want the one with the proper Mercedes badge, not the kind of
not the
airbag.
You've got the airbag,
That's the one thing I didn't like about ours was the steering wheel.
Because it came out in '88, I think, of the very early cars. F-Reg. I think there's some E-Regs around
for the coupes. And they are fabulous. I agree with you.
So yes, that would be a bit of affordable posh for me. So.
Yeah, with you on that.
Well, you've gone Mercedes, so I've kind of got to go different on the first one then. Slightly out of character for me, but I do love them. Bentley Turbo R. They're just fabulous.
We have one with no reserve in the sale.
I'll put a bid in. I mean, you remember our one? It was a bit ratty. It was a bit high mileage, it was low mileage, but it was a bit of a project. But I've never driven a car with a character quite like it. It's such a dinosaur. It's so big and heavy, and you rev it at certain lights and it rocks. And it feels like an old muscle car, but it's so comfortable. It's so special, and it's flawed, don't get me wrong. It's the only car I've ever driven that's so brilliant and so terrible in equal measure.
They are, it's the last Edwardian motor car with a turbocharger, isn't it?
Yes, quite right.
And,
you sort of drive it along on a bumpy road and you can feel it shimmying. And for such a massive car, they've got no space in them. And they drink fuel like it's going out of fashion. And running one for a year would probably ruin you. But I would.
But do you know what? If you run one regularly, they're actually really reliable.
Well, I think that's the key, isn't it? Using it regularly. Our one only really ever gave trouble if it was sitting around for a long period of time.
Because the brakes are quite complex. If they get left, that's when you get problems with them.
All the fluid stuff. Exactly.
So if you use it regularly, I find they're actually really reliable.
We were advised by Nigel Sandell, who we've dealt with before, which is that the putting the fuel in them is cheaper than the repairs. In that respect. So use it as a car. But I'm a big fan of a Turbo R.
And you would, specifically a Turbo R, you wouldn't get a Mulsanne or a Bentley 8 or anything sort of down the...
I think the thing is, if you're not going to go full fat Turbo R, why not go for the Rolls-Royce and have slightly nicer bits and pieces?
I think that whole, what they call it, the SZ, don't they? The SZ, I think that is it's a really good value vehicle, isn't it?
It really is, I mean,
it may come up again in future
conversation.
Okay.
Foreshadowing.
Like that.
But yes, James, choice number 2, what does it be?
Choice number 2, okay, it's very close to what we've just spoken about. I've got a wild card coming later, but it's got to be a W126 saloon.
Man of taste.
I own 3 126s. one is a coupe, so I've got a vested interest, but they're cracking value. When you think the build quality, the build quality is nothing like it really. It's still, because especially the early 126s, they're still real proper 70s Merc quality. They've got that, the pre-85 cars. They've got that feel about them.
They thud when you shut the door.
Well, it's funny you say that actually, because we did a twin test between a W126 and a Jaguar XJ40.
I did watch it.
And actually, the 126, truth be told, hadn't been prepared for sale, so it was a little bit rattly. It was still more solid than the newer XJ40
Jaguar.
But the 126 is just so well built. As a long-legged cruiser and just a really well-made product.
You could see why that was the first time the S-Class got the best car in the world with Mantra, and it earned it. It really did.
Deservedly so.
Mr. Whedon,
well,
a break from Mercedes.
Yes.
So you've already mentioned the Bentley Turbo R.
Yes.
So you kind of already trumped me on my next choice.
Yes, quite right. We like those.
But because I wanted to go Rolls-Royce. And originally I wanted to go for a Silver Shadow 2.
Okay.
But again, I'm struggling to get them in at under 10.
I think you might be missing the boat.
They are just getting up there now, aren't they?
Early Silver Shadows, I saw a few for sale. But again, slightly suspect condition.
But they're one of those cars, a $5,000 car, you can spend 10 grand on it
comfortably,
without even thinking about it.
It's not cheap.
Yeah, that's just to get it on the road.
So again, a bit like my 124 choice. My Rolls-Royce choice would be the Silver Spirit.
The Silver Spirit, okay.
Because you just got a few more at your disposal.
Generally cheaper.
I tended to find the early ones, so there's a significant facelift around 86, 87.
Yeah, well, they fuel injected them after that. So the early cars are carburettor cars, and then the fuel injected cars do feel a lot quicker.
Definitely.
But you notice how much more noisy they are.
You get to the limitations of the platform. It's a late 50s platform. It's a Silver Shadow.
So I would rather go for the fuel injected one, but again, I struggled to find one for the price point when I was researching last night. So I would quite happily slum it and have a carburetted one.
Woe is me.
Yeah, exactly. But there was, again, plenty of choice and decent ones with good condition, good paperwork.
I quite like the early cars.
Yeah.
They
feel,
they've got that because they're very, they're very similar to a Shadow 2 inside.
Well, exactly. So, and that was kind of how I reconciled it. I thought, well, it's a Shadow 2, but with a slightly boxy styling. But
slightly updated interior and so on. Yeah, no, I've nothing wrong with the Silver Spirit.
Yeah.
And go and watch our Living With video because they are excellent. We do
exactly.
Like those. So I've gone a bit more modern. I've gone German, but I feel like any Mercedes that you could conceivably get in the budget has now been taken.
Yeah.
So I've gone to the dark side. BMW for my next one. The E38 7 Series.
I knew you were going to go for E38. Again, you drove that one, didn't you?
It was only 78i. I absolutely. It's the first BMW I drove, and I came back and thought, I want one of these.
We've got a colleague of mine. He's on the hunt for one now.
Yeah,
we've sold 2 or 3 fat peaches in here. And over the last few years.
So we've seen the E38 will do the luxury limousine thing, but then if you want to drive like you're in Transporter, it will pick up and run, and it will. Even as a 728 that I drove, it felt plenty quick enough. And I thought, you know what? If you wanted to show someone who didn't get BMWs the whole ultimate driving machine thing, that works because it's such a brilliant all-rounder.
Probably the high point for car quality, wouldn't you say, around there as well?
Yeah,
sort of late 90s, early 90s.
They don't seem to have any problems.
Nice blend of build quality, technology without too much complicated stuff.
Yeah, my choice personally would be a 740. And I've sort of talked to my man Joe Dawes on Fast Car, and I've bullied him into putting M parallels on because they're the only wheel you should put on an E38. But it's got to be an early 740 with the ginger caters, as we call them. Because again, like we said, the purer look. And that for me is peak BMW and getting on for peak car. Like you say, it's just fabulous. And you've got your choice under £10,000.
Good choice. Yes. A third and final choice.
This is a real wild card. I've never owned one. I've never had that much to do with them really, because they're not really that commonplace in the UK. But I think my last car is a wild card because I would have had the Bentley Turbo R, but obviously, good car.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to go for the Honda Legend.
I
would not have seen that coming.
Yeah, Honda Legend. We sold an L-Reg one in here, so a 93, 94 car. It was one owner from new. It belonged to quite a famous artist. And it was 20,000 miles. It was beautiful. And it made about 10 grand.
Yeah.
You can still pick them up for not a lot of money.
You've got to find one.
But you get a fabulous engine, Honda build quality, 90s Honda
quality. It will go on
There's nothing
forever.
not to like, is there really?
No. And you can take it to Pride of Long Reach and park next to a Rover 800.
Exactly. A bit anonymous, aren't they? The styling's a little bit.
I quite like that though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but very Honda. And I think they are. They're a Quentin Wilson barge. They're Quentin Wilson news car.
That's a sleeper choice. I like it.
I think the thing is, if we talk about luxury cars, one of the biggest disruptors to a luxury experience is having to stop. Yeah. If it's broken down or it's overheated or it's used all your petrol, you have to stop. That's not luxurious. Well, the Legend is not going to have any of those problems.
No.
You could argue. Again, getting on for peak luxury because it will never end.
No, great car.
I think that's a really good point about a lot of these choices as well. Is that they're going to cost you some money beyond the 10 grand when you pay for them.
Hence why they are. I mean, barges have always been valuable, haven't they?
Because people are scared of the maintenance.
Yeah. But the good thing is most of our choices, and actually it was interesting you made the points about the Lexus earlier, is that if you've got decent club support or good parts availability, most other things you can work around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
the Rolls and the Bentleys enjoy fantastic parts support.
Yeah, it's intra-car and people like that.
Intra-car, fine spares.
You get all the bits, can't you?
Yeah.
So come on then, you've got us all in suspense. Which Jaguar will it be?
Which Coventry-built luxury barge did I have on my list? Well, I'm actually going to surprise you a little bit. It's not got a Jaguar badge on it.
Oh.
I wanted to go Daimler.
Yes.
Oh, upper crust. Okay, I see.
I really wanted some decadence with my Browns Lane wagon. Again, ideally I wanted a Daimler 66 and ideally a Series 3.
Yep. They've gone.
Series 3?
Gone.
Because they go like to Series, sort of 1992, don't they? And then they cross over. I did see one at a smidge over 10, which I sort of think, part exchange my Audi, arm wrestling down a grand. I'd get it for 10. I would potentially worry that it had some rot issues maybe.
Quite a few coming in from Japan now, isn't there?
Yeah,
it does happen. Yeah.
Japanese imports.
I think I've sold 2 or 3 of them for Japan actually.
Yeah.
So when I realised that I was perhaps on a slightly sticky wicket in terms of prices for the 66 Series 3, the one I found online that I really want to pick as a rarity is the XJ81.
Oh.
So it was a 6-litre V12 XJ40 shape.
Based one.
Rare. Super rare.
92 onwards, would that be?
92,
93.
It was only 93 and 94. So it was only on production for a couple of years. So super rare. I've always liked the XJ40 styling. I'm a bit of a weird one. I quite like the boxy styling of the XJ40 anyway.
They've matured quite nicely though, haven't they?
I think they look really elegant. The profile of an XJ40 is mint. But this one that I saw for sale, was at the 10 grand mark, had the sort of wire wheels sort of design.
That's the lattice they call it.
Yeah, the lattice wheels, lots of piped, sort of trimmed wood.
They do like a drink, don't they? Those 6 litre V12s.
Yeah. I thought that was great. So that would be my.
You don't even think about that, do you, when you buy one? It's not even a consideration.
Exactly. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
No, exactly.
Yes. Well, I think that is a wild card in some ways because it's a Jaguar, which we expect you to do, but not the generation or the type I'd expect you to do.
Yep.
So I'll let you have it as a pseudo wild card.
I'll try and surprise.
Well, so I went really wild card for my third choice. It's modern, it's niche, there's next to none of them left, and like the Bentley, it will probably ruin you. Citroen C6.
Oh yeah, modern day CX.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Okay. The last proper hydropneumatic Citroen.
A proper Citroen.
And styling like a concept car.
Yeah.
It just got, the
surprised it ever got made, aren't you? Really?
How did they get that fast? There was a lot of boxes of Gauloises exchanged, I think, in Citroen. But it looks gorgeous. Even
space
today on the road, exactly. It still looks like a DS on the road. It looks like a spaceship. They've got the best ride of any modern car ever, really, apart from a Rolls-Royce Phantom. They've got the modern interior. It feels like a TGV train inside with massive seats. It's just stunning. Again, it's all the Citroen quirks and all the unreliability plus times 10 because you've got all the electric.
Modern day stuff on them.
Yeah. And if you go for the diesel ones, they probably will blow up like they do with the Jaguars. So if it will ruin you, it will break your heart and take your wallet. But what a 6 months you have. Yeah.
Interesting choice. Very interesting
choice. Would I buy one with my own money?
When you pitch it for a project car, then maybe I need to think twice about whether we go for it.
Not coming soon to Classics World. Yeah. But I think that's just fabulous. I think
all the bits are fairly common, aren't they? Engine is
shared with other different cars.
So
it may not be the ruinous because Citroens of that era do have a following, albeit a small one. People are collecting Berlingos now, aren't they? So it's
9 choices. That's and not very much overlap. Is there any ones that we didn't make the list? I'm trying to think of some now.
Oh, blimey! There's some that you could. Obviously Audis, big Audis.
I was going to say, what about an Audi A8?
Now this is really pushing it a little bit. What about something like a Hyundai Sonata? Or a Kia Magentis.
That is mental.
V6 power for no money.
That is niche.
I mean, I like it. I like the brave choice.
Yeah, I want us to do this again in 20 years' time because then I can say Kia Stinger.
Yeah, Kia Stinger. That was a cracking car.
Big fan of the Stinger, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But the Audis are a good one. W220 S-Class didn't make the cut for me, if I'm honest, because you and I know it's that dip era for Mercedes. Unless you're going to give me an S55 compressor, I'm not really really.
And the coupes are pretty, aren't they? The
CL, absolutely stunning. And they're for nothing now. You can get the V12 for less than £5 on the V8. So I wouldn't tune on my own money, but good on you if you do.
It's Pagani's Honda engine in the 65.
I like your thinking, sir. I like your thinking.
I tell you, if I had to really go out on a limb and have a fourth choice, what a proper wild card, I think it'd be a Vauxhall Senator.
Oh, now we're talking.
James, you're nailing this today.
Police car of the 90s.
I think we need to go home.
There you go.
But it's very hard to find a nice one now. Very hard. In a nice spec. Yeah. And
Amigas. The sort of egg cratey grille.
Yeah, egg cratey grille. I mean, if you can go early if you like.
Well, there you go. Quite apart from the Senators, I think you say that's one. Why don't you say in the comments who chose best? Which individual car? Which one of us? What would you choose? Luxury car, £10,000. Don't have to be a saloon. Can be a coupe. Don't say any SUVs. I'm sorry. I'll delete the comment if you say any SUVs. But what do you fancy? Luxury car, under 10,000 quid, let us know. But in the meantime, like this video, subscribe to Classics World for all our future content, the chat show and road test and auction previews, such as our friends at Hobbs Parker. Do go and visit the Hobbs Parker website to see you'll have a sale coming up or something.
We will. There's always another one around the corner. So the next one is October.
Many great cars, including some luxury if you fancy it. James, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you again soon. It's all right.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Jesus wept. It's not
very hot.
It's not meant to be this warm in this country.